I would like to call the organizational meeting to order. All board members are present except board member Fletch. At this time, Dr. Brown Hall, will you lead us in the pledge, please?
I'd be honored. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. For announcements, please be advised that in the event of a fire emergency and an evacuation should be necessary, an alarm will sound. Please note all marked emergency exit and evacuate well away from the building. At this time, we request that everyone turn their cell phones and other electronic devices to silent. Thank you. So we now will proceed with the oaths of office. May I have the three board members first, and then I'll do the student board members, and then superintendent of schools.
Awesome.
So at this time, I'll have board member Bleckinger, board member Manna, and board member Bulin at the podium, please.
Phenomenal.
You made a mistake getting you back.
Start with you there, and we'll go this way. Come on around. Yeah. We all do it. You face me, and then Christina. There. So I can get you all on camera. There we go. And then, so I'm just gonna, you can just repeat after me, and when I say I, you just state your name, and then I'll say 3 words, and then repeat after me.
No pressure.
Raise your right hand. I state your name. Do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
The Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and I will faithfully discharge the duties
and I will faithfully discharge the duties
of Board of Education member
of Board of Education member
for the Williamsville Central School District
for the Williamsville Central School District
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Thank
Welcome
Congratulations.
Thank you, everyone. And now I will have the student board members.
Here we go.
Come on down. I do solemnly swear that I will support
That I will support
the Constitution
the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution
and the Constitution
of the State of New York,
of the State of New York,
and that I
and that I
will faithfully discharge
will faithfully discharge
the duties of
the duties of
Student Board
Student Board
of Education member
of Education member
for the Williamsville Central School District
of the Williamsville Central School District
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my abilities.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And now the Superintendent of Schools, Dr. Darren Brown Hall.
I, Darren Brown Hall,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support
that I will support
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
of Superintendent of Schools
of Superintendent of Schools
for the Williamsville Central School District
for the Williamsville Central School District
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Happens to the best of us.
One of your aliases, right?
She said, state your name. I'm like, Now we're ready to conduct business.
Almost.
Let me get the plea from you. You're gonna go through.
Okay, on to the next. Second roll call. All board members are seated at the table. Dr. Brownhall, now I turn it over to you for recognition.
Thank you very much, District Clerk Lynn Carey. Tonight, we are proud to recognize two individuals who have earned national recognition from Williamsville East High School. First, we know the arts are an essential component of a well-rounded education. At Williamsville East, junior Ya Lin Cheng entered the 2025 Congressional Art Challenge and ultimately won top honors. Her work, titled Blessed, will be displayed in the U.S. Capitol for the entire next year. Please welcome Principal Jason Swenson and Ya Lin Cheng, winner of the 2025 Congressional Art Challenge. That is awesome.
Sorry, I have no idea what I'm doing here. Yeah, my name is Yalin Chang. I'm a junior at Williamsville East High School. And I guess I just talk about my art piece here.
Yeah, what was your inspiration, your impetus to actually do it and then get it submitted?
So I entered it when I was a freshman. I didn't win that year, obviously, but it was really cool. My parents inspired me to do it. They kind of pushed me to do it because I like art and I like doing art. So they were like, "Oh, you should enter this competition." And I had like no idea what I was doing back then. I was like, "This is for like," and I was like, "What is this for?" And they'd be like, "It's for like the national level." And I was like, "Oh, okay, that's great." This year, I guess I tried a different technique this year. Beforehand, it was I forgot who our congressman was. But Brian Higgins, I think.
Mhm.
Yeah. He didn't have like a theme, but this year we had a theme. It was based on Buffalo, kind of. It was like our city of good neighbors,
Awesome.
which was like really helpful for me because I like staying on theme. So this is my art piece. It's like everything I love about here. We have Williamsville East High School with my teachers and my friends. They really helped me. And just like parts of Buffalo that I really like Shays.
Yeah.
I went there for Mamma Mia once. I thought that was really cool. And I just like
Mm.
the sense of like community, and it's just really fun. And yeah, I feel like that kind of is reflected through my art. It's like colorful. I used acrylic paint, not oil paint, and acrylic markers kind of to bring on like that sketchy feel you get. I just feel like it just really represents how I feel about everything. And obviously my parents are in the front. They're here with me today.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's just the people here, just a lot about community and people, I feel like really drove my art.
That is phenomenal. And it'll be on display for the entire year at the U.S. Capitol, right?
Wow.
That is phenomenal.
Thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely. Look at that. Principal Swenson?
I just want to add that, Yellen's another example of just terrific, unbelievable students that we have at East. But what I love about this particular is, and we're really accentuating just another piece of East, which is, our program and our students who excel, in the area of art. So I just, again, congratulations, Yellen. And again, it's just great to get us another student who just excels in another area. And what I love is just it's a different. Everything's always a different area.
Right,
we're very, we're a school that prides ourselves in being well versed and with lots of different talents. And this is just another example. So congratulations, kiddo.
Thanks.
Can I ask you, how long did it take you to develop that piece? How long did it take you?
Okay, so I knew about it for like a couple months, but it was like super busy at that time, and like the deadline was like I did it over winter break, I think. So it took me like a
Wow.
week to do it.
Wow.
Yeah, if I had more time, it would have been better, but I
that's
really
phenomenal.
just didn't want to do anything. So
That is phenomenal. Thank you very much. Thank you. Now we have another Williamsville East student. Next, we are proud to have a member of Team USA in our presence tonight. Last year, Ashi Parashar earned a spot on the national team and represented the United States at the World Kickboxing and Karate Tournament in Portugal. After winning gold and silver at nationals a few weeks ago, Ashi will once again represent the United States later this year at the World Kickboxing and Karate Tournament, which takes place in Niagara Falls. Please join us in welcoming again Principal Jason Swenson and Ashi Parashar, national champion and member of Team USA. Woo!
Hi, I want to start off by saying thank you for the recognition and thank you for having me here. I'm super excited not only to be here, but to be on the team again. I've been putting in a lot of work, so I'm really excited to be on that national stage and now the international stage again. I'm competing in a few divisions. I have my fighting divisions, and there's 3 of them. So I'll be in team fighting, I'll be in open weight, and then I'll be in my normal point fighting. And then now I'm also competing in my traditional Korean forms division. So I'm super excited, and
That is
I'm
awesome.
really excited. It's in our backyard, and I think it's time to bring home a gold.
Yes. Awesome.
Well, it goes out saying that nobody messes with Ashi at East, without a doubt. But what I just want to add is that one thing you might not know is how much of a leader Ashi is actually in our building. She is a role model for our students, but really, you would never know all the accomplishments that this young lady has had, and how she carries herself, and really is such an amazing leader for us at East. So congratulations again to Ashi.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Can I ask one question? Ashi, very quickly, what does a typical day look like for you with the amount of practice you have?
Just a lot of training. I
Okay.
wake up, kind of train downstairs in my basement, and then I practice. I actually train in Hamilton. So
Oh,
it
wow.
consists of like 2 hours of driving
Oh my God.
to
Wow.
Canada and back. But yeah, no, it's a lot, but I love it.
Good for you. All right. Thank
Yeah.
you. That's commitment. That's awesome. District Clerk, I'll turn it back over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Brownhall. Okay, so at this time, may I have, we're moving on to the adoption of the election process. So may I have a motion to approve and adopt the election process and the election of officers as presented? Mr. Buelan, Dr. Singh? Any discussion? All in favor? Oh, Dr. Spicer? Yes.
Yeah, I feel like my microphone's really far away. Sorry. I just wanted to bring it up for a discussion for the board. I do think that it's really important that all board members are part of the conversation of leadership. And given that we are missing a board member tonight, I just wanted to bring that topic up for discussion to see what folks' thoughts were on that, to give opportunity for all board members to vote for leadership. While there are times during the year that folks do miss, this is very specific for our leadership, and generally we're all here. So given that we're missing somebody, I just wanted to see what folks thought about that, and just talk about if we should table at least the vote for the position with 2 people running to the August meeting.
Any other discussion regarding that?
Question.
Any thoughts? All right, Mr. Buelan.
Can we do that? Can we table the election per our bylaws, or can we not do that?
That's up to you.
I'm just curious. I just didn't know if that was.
You can postpone it, but it would be up to someone to make a motion to postpone that. Mr. Manna?
Thank you. Since I'm the other person running, there's no, I agree, Dr. Spicer. There's no guarantee that next month everybody will be here either. So I think that, we take all kinds of votes. This is a very important vote, but I think every vote we take is important, and we vote with who's here. And I think that our board colleagues will decide what path we take after tonight. If somebody has 5 votes, then the question is answered. If it's tied 4-4 and we're waiting for the tiebreaker, obviously we carry on to the next meeting. But I am not in favor of tabling. I say there's no guarantee what's going to happen next month, and we vote with who's here. That's what I think.
Ms. Kaczmarek-Bogner, did you have a comment?
I just wanted to clarify that by law, we do have to vote for a president tonight, but not for vice president. And I would agree with what Mr. Manna said in terms of taking it to a vote. And then if it were tied, we could consider postponing.
Question.
Ms. Fleckinger?
Yeah, I was just going to agree with Mark and his sentiment too. If there's a tie, then we can take it to the next month.
Okay, so I will move forward with the vote process. Okay, so motion carries.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Is there a motion?
No, that was our discussion. So now we're voting on approving the election.
Approving the- Okay,
Voting on the motion.
Yeah, no, I mean, I just
Yes.
use
we
my
get-
to raise my hand.
favor? Yes.
Try that again.
Okay, motion carries unanimously. Thank you. So moving on to nominations will now be in order for board president. Is there a nomination for president of the Board of Education? Mr. Biscaglia.
I'd like to nominate Ms. Kazmarek Bogner for president.
Okay. Ms. Kazmarek Bogner, do you accept the nomination?
I do. Thank you.
Okay. Are there any other nominations for president at this time? Okay, seeing none, nominations are closed for president. So we'll just have a roll call vote. I'll just go down the table. Dr. Singh? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Beelan?
Yes.
Mr. Buscalia?
Yes.
Ms. Poulin?
Yes.
Kazmarek Bogner?
Yes.
Ms. Fleckinger?
Yes.
Mr. Manna?
Yes.
Dr. Spicer?
Yes.
Okay, that's all unanimous. Congratulations. And now election of vice president. Are there any nominations in order for vice president? Ms. Poulin?
I'd like to nominate board member Dr. Carrie Spicer.
Dr. Spicer, do you accept this nomination?
Yes, I do.
Are there any other nominations? Mr. Beelan?
Yes, I'd like to nominate board member Mark Manna for vice president.
Okay, Mr. Manna, do you accept this nomination?
I do.
And now we will do, are there any other nominations? Okay. Pardon?
They each have an opportunity to speak.
Right. Are there any other nominations? Nope. Okay. So at this time, I'll have Dr. Spicer speak, and then we'll ask Mr. Manna to speak, and then I will go down the table for the vote. Okay.
Okay.
Dr. Spicer?
All right. Thank you, Mrs. Carey. Thank you to all of my colleagues who took the opportunity to talk with me over the last few weeks just about myself running for the vice president position. I appreciate the candor, the conversation, and the transparency in all the dialogue that we had. So, I'm very much appreciative of open conversation. Also, I want to say welcome to the students. I am very excited to have you here. Just to recap on who I am, I feel like we've all worked together for a long time, so I feel a little bit silly, but, professionally, I work in higher education. Education is central to who I am, to the values that I hold. Very early on in life, I understood through my projects and my passions and my volunteering that education was central to everything in a person achieving their goals and making sure that we can move our communities forward. Education is central to everything, and ensuring that people have access to that education is something that I hold central to everything that I do. So my professional self, as well as my volunteer self, I am an avid volunteer across the country through higher ed organizations, but also in this community. I've been a member of PTSAs, the Special Ed PTSA, and the Girl Scouts of America as well. So I'm very enmeshed in our educational community. When I think about me in this position as vice president, Dr. Singh is going to get sick of me saying this, but I reflect back on our early conversation about consideration of time and energy around being a board member. It's a big job. Just being a board member is a huge job. So taking on a leadership role, I took very seriously, thinking about time commitments and slow rolling into the position of a board member, which is what I've done for the past 2 years. Last time I thanked folks for the role modeling that they provided for those who have served in the presidential and vice presidential roles. And I am ready to take on the mantle of vice president. I can promise that I do embody the characteristics of a good leader, and I will continue to do that. I am someone who listens to listen. I'm not someone who listens just to respond. And that's really important in what we do because we listen to people all the time. It's what we have to do. And we are listening to people with a variety of opinions and concerns. I'm also somebody who has incredibly strong organizational skills. It's what I do. I can logistic the heck out of everything that I work on. And so my organizational skills aren't just organization, though. I have an ability to connect the dots between people, between projects, and amongst policies as well. So that's something that as a vice president, I will keep my eye on those connections. And that's one of my attributes to organization. And I want to make sure too that when we think about communication, because we're reflecting on that strategic goal of communication all the time, that we communicate in a way that people can hear us. And my focus as vice president would be our great communication that we already do, but ensuring that in those modalities that we choose that we're communicating so all folks in the community can hear what we're saying. We get a lot of feedback around communication. We offer a lot of opportunity for that conversation to happen, but making sure that we're communicating so that folks understand is critical. And I also understand that the position of vice president is to build a team along with the president, along with all of us. It's not a role that is politicized. It's not a role that's about the title of it. It's a role that is put in position so that we can all feel a connection. So, you know, to have a nonpartisan perspective on a leadership role on a school board is really critical. It is the point. It is the mission of being a board member. But that's what I want to focus on is I want to build this team, continue to build this team. I want to continue to build our community. And I want to empower everyone rather than just pushing one perspective forward. I certainly will have opinions, but that does not mean that I'm incapable of listening to other people's opinions. My favorite expression is to be curious about why. When we're curious about why, we connect, whether or not we agree with each other. And that curiosity will keep us connected and it builds bridges across differences. So I will continue to always be curious why. I will continue to hold all people's perspectives and opinions central to the work that I do as a vice president and as a board member. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Spicer. Mr. Manna?
Thank you. I want to welcome the student representatives. It's an awesome responsibility and it's an incredible honor to be elected. And I want to thank my board colleagues for taking the time to talk to me about this position over the past few weeks. And certainly Dr. Spicer, we've had a couple of conversations and I will say the board and the community should be happy that, you know, you have, I think, qualified people who want to take on this extra work. So I'll take this opportunity to talk a little bit about my qualifications for office of vice president of the Williamsville Board of Education. I've been very fortunate to have a lot of experiences with different groups. I've learned a lot from every experience I've had, and all of which will help me in my role as your vice president. As a former certified baseball umpire, I learned to call him as I see him. Sometimes there is no doubt in your judgment, and your decision really can't be questioned as long as you know the rules and you call it for the right reasons. I served on the Amherst Town Board and was deputy supervisor. I learned how to serve on a board and work together. Even if we had very different political ideologies, we would often put those differences aside because we had a goal to do what was best for the stakeholders. For over 30 years, I've been a labor contract negotiator. From that experience, I've learned to be pragmatic and understand that sometimes compromise is the best path forward for all parties. Our differences pale to what we have in common. I'm a trustee of my union's pension fund with assets of almost $1 billion. That experience has taught me the importance of long-range fiscal planning and understanding that nothing is possible without the finances to do so. And certainly my 2 years on the school board has taught me a tremendous amount. I've been fortunate to have my stepchildren and nephews graduate from the Williamsville schools. My wife, Lisa, is a retired teacher that educated the children in this district for 28 years. This experience has taught me what a diverse district we truly are. Students, parents, teachers, staff, taxpayers are all stakeholders. Each of them has a say. Each of them wants the district to succeed. Although they may differ on the path to that success, I pledge that I will be a vice president that makes sure we are doing not only what is right by our stakeholders, but what is best for all. My real life experience makes me confident I can serve as your vice president and overcome the challenges before us, and just as important, overcome the challenges that have yet to be revealed. I humbly ask for your vote for the vice president of the Williamsville School Board. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Manna.
You're welcome.
So at this time, I will take a roll call vote. And when I go down the table, please say yes and for whom you will be voting for. Dr. Singh,
Yes, first.
for yes, who will you be voting for?
Yes, Mark Manna.
Okay. Mr. Buellin,
Yes, for Mark Manna.
Mr. Biscaglia,
Mr. Manna.
Ms. Poulin,
Yes, for Dr. Spicer.
Kaczmarek Bogner,
Yes, for Dr. Spicer.
Fleckinger,
Yes, for Mark Manna.
Mark,
Yes, for Mark Manna.
Dr. Spicer.
Yes, for Dr. Spicer.
So Mr. Manna has 5. Dr. Spicer has 3. Mr. Manna is the vice president-elect. Congratulations. So Mr. Manna and Vice President Manna and President Kaczmarek Bogner both have a term for this full year. So it starts today and ending June 30th, 2026. And at this time, I'll do the oaths. I'll do the president oath first and then
I think Donna will-
president oath first. Next. Okay. Is it right here? Or you want me to go to the podium? Okay, we'll go to the podium.
To the podium.
Yeah. Grab my back up to the podium. Okay. I, Crystal Kaczmarek, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
That I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and that I will faithfully discharge
the duties of President of the Board of Education
the duties of President of the Board of Education
for the Williamsville Central School District
for the Williamsville Central School District
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Congratulations. Thank you. Mr. Manna, come on down.
Oh, thank you.
Please raise your hand again. Repeat after me. I
I, Mark Manna,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
and I will faithfully discharge the duties
of Vice President
of Vice President
of the Board of Education
of the Board of Education
for the Williamsville Central School District
for the Williamsville Central School District
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my abilities. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Muzzle top.
Yeah.
Come over there. Thank you.
Done or you are? I think like
Okay, so at this time, I will turn the meeting over to Board President Kaczmarek Bogner.
Thank you, Mrs. Carey, and I need to administer your oath of office. Raise your right hand.
I, Lynn Carey,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
of District Clerk
of District Clerk
for the Williamsville Central School District
for the Williamsville Central School District
according to the best of my abilities.
according to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Now we're ready to conduct business. Well, almost. We
No,
have
no,
one
no.
more.
All right. Thank you, Mrs. Carey, for leading our meeting to this point. And again, welcome to our new student board members. And thank you to all my board colleagues for trusting me to serve again as president this year. We are now on item 8A. Per policy 1320, I wish to appoint Maureen Poulin to serve as parliamentarian and timekeeper for the 2025-2026 fiscal year. We're now on our annual authorization items. Is there a motion to approve agenda items 8B through 14A as presented? Mr. Manna, Ms. Bleckinger, is there any discussion? All in favor? Motion carried unanimously. Board of Operations. Is there a motion to approve agenda items 15A through 15E as presented? Dr. Spicer, Ms. Bleckinger, is there any discussion? All in favor? Motion carried unanimously. Dr. Brown Hall, I turn it over to you for agenda items 16A through 16E.
Thank you very much, 25-26 Board President. First, we will have the community update. So the community update for today, July 1st, 2025, our first Board of Education meeting of the year. Our distraction-free school zones. I want to remind everyone, I want to thank everyone that actually submitted comments. Our comment period closed on June 24th. We received over 200 comments and feedback from stakeholders. On June 25th, the committee met to discuss feedback and potential next steps and potential amendments. And the policy was slightly amended, and it is in the packet for board vote tonight. Next steps, August 1st, our policy must be adopted and posted by August 1st. We will have to report to the State Education Department, and implementation begins for the 25-26 school year. I want to also remind, because we received many comments debating whether or not we should have this policy. This policy is not up for debate. The governor made it very clear she was going to enact it last December. Then she moved it to January. Then it was attached to the state budget. Districts have to have a policy where students have a distraction-free school zone during the school day. That means no internet-enabled device. This is not something the Williamsville Board of Education decided to implement. This is something that we have to implement. So, and I appreciate, again, all the comments. That means our community is involved. They're reading, and they're, just providing their opinion, and we do appreciate that. Our district safety plan is in the board agenda this evening. After tonight, we will begin our 30-day comment period, which will be open until Wednesday, July 31st. Comments and feedback can be emailed to contact@williamsvillek12.org. And after the comment period, the committee will then look at those comments to see if anything in the safety plan needs to be changed. There are some key language updates in the safety plan, and I believe Mr. Scanzuzzo will just discuss those a little bit later. Evacuate or evacuation, shelter in place, lockdown, hold in place, and secure lockout. So Assistant Superintendent Scanzuzzo will talk about those very shortly. One of our teachers from Williamsville North, Sherry Gibson, was selected for the C-SPAN's Teacher Fellowship Program. She is one of 5 teachers selected nationally. The C-SPAN Teacher Fellowship Program has teachers collaborate to create engaging content for C-SPAN Classroom, a free online resource for teachers, students, and the public. So as you know, Mr. O'Malley last year from KC High School received a national recognition. KC Middle School, I'm sorry. And this year we have Williamsville North Social Studies teacher Sherry Gibson. This is a very high honor, so we're very, very proud of Miss Gibson. Our graduation recap videos are available on our website, and we had all of our graduations on one day. Williamsville East was on Saturday at 9 a.m. Then myself and board member Bleckinger had to leave there and zoom over to Williamsville North for their 10 a.m. graduation. And then we had Williamsville South in the evening at 6 p.m. All the graduation ceremonies were a success. We were able to avoid the rain, and they were very exciting for our families and our school communities. We also honored our 2025 retirees, And our retirees have close to 700 years of combined service. And so we honored our retirees. Board president spoke that day. We provided all the retirees with a card and a Tim Hortons gift card. And you'll see in the very last picture, the honoree with the most years of service that retired this year was Rosemary Spano with 38 years of service. She actually opened the AIM program in the district. So we're sorry to see her go, but I know she's going to enjoy retirement. I know all of our retirees will enjoy retirement. So we want to thank them for their service once again. Athletics signups are available on Wix beginning the week of July 14th. Parents must sign their children up through the Wix parent portal. As a district, we understand the importance of communication as it relates to adjustments in practice times and/or locations during the season. With the distraction-free school zones, the district is working with athletic directors to establish protocols to ensure timely communication to parents and guardians and student athletes. These will be shared in the fall. So some of the feedback we received during the comment period was that coaches communicate with students about changing practices. So those are procedural questions and issues that we will be dealing with after the policy is passed. All of our high school principals will be working so that we have consistent procedures. Our high school principals and assistant principals, same at middle school, same at elementary school. So we are in the procedure phase right now, and this will be one of the things that we will be working on. Our lost and found. The transportation lost and found will be cleared out on July 11th. So if there is something that you haven't seen around your house or haven't seen your child wearing, it may be here. So it's at 533 Mill Road. Please be sure to give a call and you can stop over and look through the items that you may be missing from your home. Make sure you stop by your school also. We, even on our Board of Education tours to the school, we see the lost and founds and they are plentiful. And that is a community update for July 1st, 2025. Any questions, board members? Okay, then I will, go ahead, Mr. Scalia.
Sorry, something just popped in my head. In terms of the athletic with cell phones, will there be plans to allow students to then, like at my district, you're not allowed, students aren't allowed to use classroom phones, things like that. Will those be discussed and understood with students and administration where kids can use phones to call parents and things if things are changed in terms of like,
yeah, and those
that'd be part of the plan, I guess I'm asking.
The committees will be, well, it won't be part of the plan. The committees are working to develop the procedures.
Sorry.
But yeah, students will have access to phones in the main offices to use also. And we will be enabling the Wix feature where parents and students can email.
Okay.
Dr. Singh?
Just one clarification. You said August 1st is the date you're going to adopt the distraction-free school zone policy?
No, we're going to adopt it. We have to prove to the state by August 1st that we have a policy adopted.
We'll adopt on August 12th board meeting.
No, that won't work. No.
So the comments that we're going to get, we already have.
We already have the comment period closed on the 24th. The committee met again on the 25th. But throughout the comment period, very similar to how the Board of Education was receiving the comments, the committee was reviewing the comments also. And then they met on the 25th.
Okay.
I'm going to move ahead to 8B. So our homework grading and reporting presentation. Dr. Bellin and the Homework and Grading Committee have been working for many years on alignment in the district for homework and grading practices so that there's consistency, but teachers still have autonomy in their classrooms. So you remember last August, Dr. Bellin came and presented our homework and grading beliefs. Dr. Bellin is here today to give an update on phase 2 of the work of the Homework Grading and Reporting Committee. Dr. Bellin, I turn it over to you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Brown Hall. Good evening, members of the board and members of our school community. I appreciate the opportunity to provide an update on the important work occurring in the areas of homework grading and reporting. As Dr. Brown Hall shared, our last update was made in August of 2024. I'm very pleased to share that a great deal has occurred since that time and wonderful progress has been made. Due to the magnitude and depth of the work, efforts are continuing at both the school and district levels. Tonight's presentation reflects information conveyed last summer, including the structure of the work, timelines, phases, and associated goals. Updates and accomplishments since our last presentation will also be shared along with next steps and actions. We will move swiftly through the next several slides as these are a review from our August presentation. As you may recall, a committee and subgroup approach was used to address the stages of the work. The timeline for our committee work occurred in 2 phases, and some details are shown here. The initial stages of the work involved setting the charge of the group and becoming immersed in and thoroughly familiar with this topic from a research-based perspective. Book studies and thoughtful guided examinations of text were used to stimulate robust group discussions and to formulate collective beliefs on homework and grading. Resources were also read by educator colleagues and district administrators. The author of the primary text is a highly regarded researcher and writer on these topics, frequently cited in other literature by researchers who share common perspectives. Various articles and briefs by other experts were also utilized, including publications from Hanover Research. On these next 2 slides, beliefs were produced about homework, and these are shown here. It was recognized that a measured amount of purposeful homework supporting standards in our curriculum can enhance learning provided it has explicit connections to current and previous classroom learning with discernible and justifiable learning benefits. The purpose of these beliefs was to establish our comments and our commitments, our positions on the topic, codify them in writing, and then use the statements moving forward to engage in reflection and drive change where needed. Homework practices that are not aligned or deviate from these beliefs may necessitate reconsideration, adjustment, or an alteration in approach. The homework beliefs here, these are ones you saw from last August, so we will continue on. Assessment beliefs, like those for homework, also call for reflection, analysis, updating, and include shifts towards more aligned systems and practices. Statements reflect an approach that focus on student learning outcomes and holistic development. Implementation in this area demands that data and evidence serve as a guide. Redesigning evaluation instruments and capturing standards-based data from various sources incorporate items such as observational data, quantitative measures, portfolios, and individual metrics, including qualitative measures. An effective assessment system consists of a collection of opportunities for students to demonstrate their knowledge and learning in different ways. Proficiency and achievement determinations will be based on multiple data points, including pre- and post-assessments, with the most recent data showing growth. Feedback is essential to the process, serving as a cornerstone in this system. It must be specific, detailed, actionable, transferable, and timely, and aimed at empowering students to understand what they know, what they can do, and where they need to improve. These approaches align with the district's philosophy, affirming that through educational excellence, using research-based programs and practices, all learners can reach their full potential and all are supported in achieving high expectations. Again, these are the assessment beliefs that we saw last summer. The 2 following slides articulate some specific recommendations. These speak to things such as purpose, intentionality and alignment, context, and time elements. Homework is carefully designed to check for student understanding. Assessments and assignments have an explicit connection to current and previous classroom learning, and they are beneficial and meaningful for students. Homework extends beyond compliance and is student-centered. There is emphasis on practice, reflection, and application of what is learned. At system and school-based levels, operationalizing the beliefs and recommendations, as well as advancements, require ongoing reflection, communication, and collaboration, as well as support and monitoring and accountability. The Homework Grading and Assessment Committee proposed shifts in grading practices to provide a greater focus on learning outcomes and learner development, including an outcomes-based system aligned to standards and objectives. These prioritize and involve mastery over time, differentiated assessments to accommodate diverse learning styles, and various sources to capture data, feedback mechanisms, clear learning targets in student-friendly language, and reassessment opportunities. Grades reflect student knowledge and performance relative to these targets, and non-academic competencies are evaluated as well. The goal is to ensure clarity when it comes to progress and achievement, engage learners actively in their learning, and develop lifelong skills through robust research-based assessment tools and practices. For our system to operationalize these elements, this has required ongoing meetings and sharing, development processes, redesigned elements, professional learning, communication and collaboration and support, as well as the monitoring and accountability that I previously mentioned. Last year, we spoke about some actions for exploration, which you see here on the screen. We also discussed the sharing of the beliefs and practices, as well as the work accomplished in order to advance our system's grading tools and structures. In the area of communication, directors and principals have engaged in ongoing dialogue regarding homework beliefs and practices, both current and well as those desired and planned. Our WTA colleagues and partners have been involved in these processes at the committee level and in curriculum and assessment work. Mrs. Light, WTA president, has been instrumental in efforts and initiatives. We thank the WTA for their partnership, participation, leadership, and work. Our directors, led by Linda Rouet, Dr. Chris McGinley, and Danielle Alterio, have been heavily immersed leaders in the collective efforts described at all stages. Directors in every instructional area have worked together. All directors are planning for, leading, and facilitating collaborative efforts with teacher colleagues individually for their areas of responsibility. In addition, our Office of Professional Learning has developed a screencast that will be provided on the district's newly created professional learning landing page, which will be made available for the 2025-26 school year. Principals are expected to share the screencast with their faculties with district office assistants. The screencast will provide a review and the explanation of efforts, research and committee work, beliefs and principles, as well as a reflective model to think about how to move from current to desired practices and change where necessary. Principals will use this prepared and consistent information to generate a deeper level of discourse with their staff and then provide the reflections regarding staff conversations, followed by periodic updates of progress on what changes and enhancements have been made at their schools as a result of their work. We also want to ensure that a part of this process is highlighting and sharing the strengths, the very many great things our teachers are doing, including the outstanding routines, practices, and protocols that they utilize. Dr. Brown Hall has also indicated that he will be sending a personal message to schools reiterating the importance of ensuring that this work in these areas continues to move ahead. In addition, a feedback mechanism and timeline has been established to capture advancements and accomplishments in this regard. As you can see, the Office of Instruction, Professional Learning, and Principals have made a commitment to communication, conversation, reflection, and building capacity, and we thank the individuals in carrying this work forward. In the grading realm, the latest phase of efforts regarding elementary report cards began at the start of the 2024-25 school year, and the plan was shared with directors by myself and Dr. McGinley in January of 2025. Directors spent several months building a common vision aligned with the beliefs, refining the plan, and planning for summer work with teachers. Part of this work included reflecting on what is communicated, how it is measured, and developing sample prototypes while keeping students at the center of all plans. At subsequent meetings, the directors developed and reviewed sample progress indicators and discussed these in detail along with possible progress and achievement scales. The lens of communication to families, as well as teacher utility and assessment of student learning, were also emphasized. Next steps within this last week, just within the last 7 days, includes our teacher teams working in partnerships with our directors focused on further refinement and specificity of these instruments, along with assessment development and alignment as part of their summer work. To encompass all areas and levels, K through 12, projects will extend into next school year with teacher teams. I would like to share also that a new endeavor began with the Office of Exceptional Education and Student Services in identified curriculum extension areas. Special educators and the director of the district classes will accompany and participate in district curriculum work to design appropriate differentiated scaffolds for students, ensuring that efforts, work products, and demonstration of understanding meets the needs of all learners. Continuous and varied support for implementation is essential. Besides the aforementioned efforts, professional learning has continued. Last summer, we shared with you that book studies, building-based sessions, and in-service courses were some of the ways that our staff were engaging in these learning opportunities. I would like to also share that there were other professional development sessions, and it encompassed such trainings as rethinking grading, both a class and a book study, rethinking homework, classes, and book studies, focused math professional development on staff development days and summer institutes around research-based instructional and assessment practices aligned with the beliefs, exploring research in music curriculum and assessment practices, dynamic assessment and practice, advancing equitable evaluation for culturally and linguistically diverse students, best practices in reading assessment, administering interpersonal and presentational assessment tasks, and project-based assessments, just to name a few. The list is very exhaustive. In addition, our PD catalogs, which run all year, as well as staff development days for the 25-26 school year, will also include additional opportunities for staff. As noted and in conclusion, updates and accomplishments will be captured at the school and district levels. Building advancements will center on strengths and best practices identified and alignment to the beliefs and shifts in practices where necessary. The work on report cards will result in draft documents for staff and administrative review and feedback, and revision of these instruments as needed. Subsequently, prior to implementation, stakeholder communication will take place to highlight these items and offer supporting information aiding in their understanding. We will also be asking for input, questions, and considerations to ensure a comprehensive, inclusive process. I am very proud of the work and efforts involved with the Homework Grading and Reporting Initiative. These are large in scope and breadth, and the impact is vast. Significant progress has been made thus far, and the additions described will help us in achieving our remaining stated goals and outcomes. We recognize that this is an iterative process requiring ongoing reflection and revision, and one that must be actualized in partnership and collaboration with stakeholders. We thank you for your support, and we look forward to returning and sharing further updates on this important work. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Balin. Any questions, board members? Board President, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Thank you. I don't really have a question. I just wanted to thank you, Dr. Billen, and everyone that's been involved in this initiative. I know there is a lot entailed in it. It's been going on for a while now. And I also appreciate the update, especially in terms of the communication piece and how we're going to ensure that everyone knows about what this initiative means for Williamsville Central School District. So thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
That's huge. Yep. Board Member Biscaglia, then Mr. Buellin.
Dr. Balin, very thorough presentation again, like usual. So these phases and beliefs will be beginning to implement next year.
So we have shared them all. So the phases actually represented some of the early committee work. We had committees working over the last several years, so we had to take things in components. So the phases really represented a large part of what the subgroups and our larger committee as a whole were working on. The beliefs have already been shared widely with our school community to ensure that there's a depth of understanding and be able to interact with the beliefs on a deeper level. That is where the additional communication strategies will be employed. It's very important, as you saw, the theme throughout the presentation was really the engagement of the stakeholders in the process. So while these items have been shared, we really think about the many ways, and there's some additional opportunities ahead of us where we'll actually be able to dig a little bit more deeply into these items and really offer an opportunity for some really rich conversation and reflection to take place so that we're actually achieving what these beliefs speak to.
And just a couple other questions, sorry. So I saw in terms of the schools, it'll be equitable among schools, and that's the goal, to kind of have it middle schools the same, high schools, elementary schools the same, or similar. I won't say exactly the same, but.
And to your point, I think, in order to achieve that, it's really that robust discussion. So as similar as the practice is being also recognizing there are some unique characteristics and qualities to some of the courses. So while trying to not be overly prescriptive in what we were achieving, the benefit of having the district committee is it involved not just our district staff, but a large number of our staff at the buildings, primarily teachers, guidance counselors, other people that serve in very important roles. So the voices of a lot of people came out in those conversations. But really what is most helpful, especially where you have multiple locations, is to have a level specific focus, but also recognizing, because there are nuances with courses and different needs in different places, that there might be some differences. But that's why our work actually initially began with the committee in establishing what we could consider our commonly held beliefs that would be appropriate, if you will, K through 12 across all settings, regardless of the course or discipline. So as similar as it can be and as consistent as it can be, with also understanding some flexibilities that will be inherent in this.
That kind of led to my next question. So like I think of, because I have elementary students that go to school, like the 10-minute rule, I like that. I actually try to do that in my classroom. But then I think of like elementary schools, that's where you mean it'll differ maybe, because obviously you want elementary students, especially in first grade, second grade, to be reading 20 to 30 minutes at home. That's the differences you're looking at.
Yes, and it depends on the task. And I think those would be clearly explained when we're communicating what these expectations are, because again, they're what I would consider not, in some cases, hard and fast rules, but also very situational in nature. So if we're going to deviate from them, it's the why that's happening. And I think it would be very task and situation specific with regard to what is being asked of the students.
Okay, last question, then I had just a quick comment. So I heard a couple times, and obviously being a teacher myself, you know, we present professional development to teachers, and sometimes they had choice. How do we get them to buy in and take these professional development courses to help implement, kind of this grading and assessment recommendations for homework?
Yeah, it's a great question. So the structures that I mentioned include both those that are not choice driven. So things like our staff development days, things like the conversations at the building with the teams, those are things that all individuals in our school community will be a part of, because it's important that everybody's in those conversations together, and they're also ongoing. So the beauty of that is it's also built into the structures that they're already in their meetings. So part of their agendas will include opportunities for these faculty meetings, or another way that staff members are already present and accounted for in those particular settings. So that's, again, another opportunity for these components. As far as the trainings are concerned, we do want to make sure there are some choice opportunities. So where we have in-service or voluntary sessions, that will also accommodate any particular learning aspects of this work that someone might want to engage in that go beyond just a baseline understanding. But you'll see that the approach that we've taken is really twofold. It's ones that allow for not just the choice to be there for the differentiation, but also the baseline that everybody has, so everybody will receive a consistent level of information.
I appreciate you answering all the questions. Some of them were for the public to hear as well.
So thank you.
But my only comment was I'm very proud of this. You know, I didn't do any work, but as a board member sitting on here, I'm very proud of the people that put in this work. I think Williamsville being in the forefront again of something that's, to me, and I believe the board as well, very important. I think hearing different things like, making sure we're helping the whole child, that's the type of homework we're looking for, culturally responsive homework. It makes me very happy to hear these things, and we're Williamsville being the forefront of doing this, because I think it's important to understand. And, I had a child that went a little bit through this year with homework, where they're just stressed out, where it's actually making them break down, and it's doing the opposite effect that we want to do for our students and children. And I'm glad to hear this. I know that everyone involved worked really hard, and I'm happy we're being the school district that puts the first step forward in this type of procedure. So,
Thank you.
Very much.
Board Member Bueller?
First of all, thank you for doing this, because this is not something I'd want to do. Here's my question. So, like, all the teachers at Williamsville used to teach Global 9 and 10, where I am, are they all agreed that they're going to grade the same, like using the same percentages? How does that work on a granular level?
Yeah, I think that's going to be part of the follow-up work. I think, as you can see, what we're talking about here are more large-scale systems
Right.
changes. I think the next piece is, how do you evaluate the progress of the students? We started first at elementary because we actually began that work prior to COVID. So we feel it important to take that trajectory, starting first with our earliest learners and the progress and reporting that takes place with families, with our students in our elementary buildings. Simultaneously, we have been engaging our faculties and really even looking at discipline-specific, course-specific ways to talk about best practices in grading and reporting. And that's how we're really going to take really the best of those conversations, along with the research aspect, that we've talked about here, and really then delving into what a secondary reporting system can look like. But we feel like this part of the work that we're describing here has to happen prior to we get to that
Right. No.
those levels. But that is part of the larger plan, which of course will take a little bit more time to accomplish. But I think once you see the elementary part, we'll be happy to share some progress on that in terms of the elementary report cards. Some great strides have been made. And I think that will also help, although it's very different in elementary, the types of things we're talking about, lessons learned, things that we've really been, talking about collectively and individually. I think those will really help us as we talk about some of the things that you mentioned as well.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Board Member Blackinger.
I see this upcoming school year, a lot of the communication, alignment, and support is happening. Is any part of the implementation happening this school year?
So this year, all of the screencast I mentioned, all of the team meetings, anything that you see that is building based in terms of the active dialogue, that is all happening. All of the director's work is already underway. The summer work that I mentioned is already underway. So actually a good part of this has already been happening and continues. As far as the professional learning, we have been offering courses and trainings on that. So that has started, that will pick up, but a large part of it, since it's a multi-year effort, some of it is continued efforts and some of it will actually be starting next year. As far as the implementation of the report cards, that's still going to be a little ways off because the part with the stakeholder feedback that I mentioned has still yet to occur. We have engaged with the WTA in some of the development, and our teachers, we're very lucky that we already have, thanks to all of your board support, we already have very good structures in place to be able to bring people together. So some of that work has already started. So a lot of it's already underway.
Thanks.
Thank you very much, board members. Thank you very much, Dr. Balin. Another question?
No, I was just a kind of a comment, not a question, but hearing all that, I think it's important. We've done this a slow process. To me, that's how it sounds. And you're also giving autonomy to educators in their classroom while also kind of making it blanket for the schools, which is, I like to hear. And I think, educators like to hear that in the community. It's not going to be, one peg fits that hole, but,
Right.
So I think that's important to know.
To that point, board member Viscalia, that's what professional learning does, right? It changes our practice and the way we do things. And so when we, as a board, had at the retreat, Dr. Heather Lyons, when she presented, who is actually going to be the new superintendent in Lindenville now, but when she presented, it was good to see that we can wrap our heads around what that may look like for the future. Yeah. So thank you for that point. I'm going to move forward now to item 16C, the strategic plan updates and highlights. You'll remember a few years ago, we used to have district goals, and for our district goals, we use our strategic plan goals because the strategic plan was developed with stakeholders in the district, and that's really what guides our work. It's hard to believe now, this being July 1, 2025, this is the beginning of year 4 of a 5-year strategic plan. So in January of 2026, we will be developing new strategic plan teams so that we can begin that long work for a new plan that will need to then be adopted by the board prior to the end of the 26-27 school year, because the new plan will take effect July 1, 2027. So beginning January 2026, and in the spring, we'll be looking to formulate our committees for our new strategic plan work. But with the current strategic plan we have, you will see in board docs that our plan has the ratings still, and most of the ratings for all of our goal and goal activities are at proficient. I wanted to take a few moments to just highlight some of the areas. For example, communication area 1B. It says that the district will improve communication between the district and families by establishing best practices and guidelines for two-way communication. And I do feel that over the course of the strategic plan, which began in 2022, we have made great strides in those areas. And one of the areas under 1B, one of the examples given is that schools continue to establish and practice two-way communication with stakeholders regarding important, timely topics. For example, the distraction-free school zones. We had comment periods. We had a committee of stakeholders. School start times. That was a project that took the entire year, and we received feedback. The board processed the feedback. The committee processed the feedback also. All of our construction projects and even the Sandy Hook Promise that was just presented at the last board meeting. These are areas that we communicate heavily from the district to families, and we get feedback from all of our stakeholders. So a lot of that work that is spearheaded by Nick Filipowski, our Executive Director of Communication, lands us in the proficient column. So we are solid in that area, always room for improvement, and we will continue to improve because we know from the VA evaluation surveys this year, there are some things that we're communicating. For example, we have a strategic plan, a DEI plan, but a lot of that work isn't getting to our stakeholders, our constituents, right? So we have to step it up on how we communicate the work of those plans to our constituents. When we look at 2B, wellness, community, and sustainability, all stakeholders will feel welcomed, connected, and have a sense of belonging to their school and district communities. This is important for us. We know and we continually speak about how diverse Williamsville is and how increasingly diverse it is becoming. So this goal and goal activity are so very important. And under 2B, you will see one of the examples given, schools hosted cultural events to celebrate the diverse traditions and backgrounds of our students and their families. These gatherings provided meaningful opportunities for community engagement, encouraged cultural pride, and fostered a deeper understanding of one another through shared stories, performances, and activities. These are the types of things that are going on in our school district to make sure that our stakeholders feel welcomed, connected, and have a sense of belonging to their school and district communities. And not only our students, but our teachers and staff in the building also. When we look to the third goal and goal activity, we look at 3A. The district will engage in and continue to develop responsive educational practices, opportunities, and learning experience that support and advance individual student growth within a diverse community. And we look at the example that is given to really support item 3A and why we have a proficient rating in that item. Teams of teachers worked on the development of trauma-informed practices resources to support building capacity in this district initiative. Also, the Office of Professional Learning created screencasts for building use on homework and grading beliefs and a reflective activity. And Dr. Bellum just spoke about that. Our last area in the strategic plan and our district goals is diversity, equity, and inclusion. And we look at item 4A. The district will support and advance diversity, equity, and inclusion in accordance with district policies and in alignment with the New York State Board of Regents policies, frameworks, and initiatives. And one of the examples given as a piece of evidence reads, several buildings have created a DEI Google Classroom to serve as a resource for staff. These resources provide educators with access to a wide range of materials, including articles, lesson plans, and discussion topics focusing on promoting inclusive practices. These are all items that are in our strategic plan that drive our work, that it's important that we reference and we evidence what's going on in our school buildings that provide those proficient ratings. And as I said, we will again be looking for stakeholders to participate in the next development of our strategic plan. It will be our 2027 to 2032 strategic plan. Any questions, board members? I said till 2032. Did you hear that?
Yes, you did.
Wow.
Retiring then.
Wow. What did you say?
Retired then.
You said I'll be retired then. Got it. Our next item to really look at is item 16D, our professional learning plan. And I want to thank Linda Rouet, who we honored at our last board meeting. She is retiring. And our Assistant Director of Professional Learning, Danielle Alteria, will be our new Director of Professional Learning. There is so much work that goes on in that department. And when you read this agenda item, it reads that in preparation for each school year, members of the professional learning team review the previous year's plan and make necessary updates and revisions to ensure that it best represents the plan for professional learning in the district. Members of the 25-26 district professional learning are listed on page 3. One thing I do want to highlight is what I enjoy that we do, and we do one of the professional learning days as conference style. Now, there's a lot of work that goes into that from our assistant superintendents, our directors of professional learning, our directors of instruction, so that our teachers have choice on some of these professional learning days as to what they feel necessary to enhance their professional capacity in the classroom. Our professional learning plan is very detailed. You see the structure of the plan is easy to follow, listing the district supported professional learning strategies, structures, and activities for teachers, including the number of hours for courses, faculty participation, and whether it can apply to CTLE credits. CTLE stands for Continuing Teacher and Leader Education. Also, there are 2 pages special in this plan dedicated to the professional learning agreements and a page listing standards of engagement for virtual learning. Now that we have a lot of virtual learning opportunities, it's important that we list what the standards of engagement are for the virtual learning. So I encourage you all to look at the professional learning plan and see who our consultants are that are listed there, and when teachers are able to earn CTLE credits and hours. So our professional learning plan is in the agenda. Are there any questions from our board members? Mr. Viscalia, board member Viscalia.
Sorry, something close and dear to my heart, the CTLE hours. So it says plan up to 35 hours in the school year for CTLE. Does that include the staff development days that throughout the year then, or is it just teachers have to take off to get some of those hours?
No. Yeah.
No, that's awesome, because I think that's important to realize, because these newer teachers coming into the districts, they need those once they get the professional certification.
To maintain it.
Yeah,
Correct.
to maintain it. And so when we find well-qualified, good teachers, I think it's important that we give them the CTLE hours so they can keep their cert to stay in the district.
Absolutely.
And not many districts do that. So kudos to us.
Our teachers have many opportunities for professional learning hours, and it was one of the things we also have annually. And then teachers, there's a process that they follow, even if there are classes that they want to take out of district. So there's a process. So thank you very much for that. Last but not least, item 16E is our district safety plan. And so on an annual basis, the district-wide safety plan must be updated with all relevant information and presented to the Board of Education for review and adoption. So after tonight, the 30-day comment period that I spoke about during the community update will commence. After that 30-day comment period, those comments will go back to the committee and they'll see if there are any updates that need to take place. But you'll also notice in this agenda item, we stress that in contrast, building-specific plans are to be kept confidential and no details of the building level plans are to be made available to the public for review per recently revised regulations. Ed Law Section 2801A expressly requires that every school emergency response plan be kept confidential and prohibited from disclosure pursuant of Article 6 of the Public Officers Law, the Freedom of Information Law. So there are some changes in terminology that are evident in the 25-26 District Safety Plan. So I'm going to ask Assistant Superintendent, Mr. Scanzuzzo, to just review those briefly.
Sure. Thank you, Dr. Brownhall. As you can see, annually, there's some changes and modifications that are required of our district safety plan. Just to take it back 1 year, the trauma-informed drills was a focal point for all districts in the state. So we basically had to provide notification not only to our faculty, staff, students, and parents of when we were going to be providing drills taking place with about 1 week's notice. So and it's really just to spark conversation really among families about, do you know what your plan is? You know what you need to do? And we need to evacuate, if there's a fire drill, or there's a lockdown, or there's a shelter in place or a hold in place. And which leads me to the change in terminology this year, just because the lockdown and lockout seemed so similar, both starting with L. So they wanted to just make sure that they were going to be distinct. So when you hear references to shelter or shelter in place, those are going to be one of the terms that we're going to be referencing for one form of an emergency plan. Hold or hold in place, we one and the same. Evacuate or evacuation are one and the same. And we're changing the lockout to secure lockout. So that's when there is something that's happening outside of our buildings that we've been notified by APD or law enforcement that something's happening. Just lock down your schools and prevent anyone from coming into your buildings until it's lifted. So that's the real change in terminology for our various emergency plans that are going to be updated and new for our district safety plan. And it's similar to what, and just to, add to what Dr. Brown Hall said, the protocols reflected in our district-wide safety plan guide the development and implementation of our individual building. And that is what's every building principal and their teams are going to be updating. They'll be updating this terminology as well in their building plans as part of that requirement. And then those are submitted to us for approval, and then through Dr. Brown Hall on October 1st to the state. Each one of our building plans are certified, that they're updated, shared with their building staff and students, and that'll take place over our staff development days in August.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Are there any questions, board members, on any of the items? I know that was a lot of information. I do get that. Are there any questions? Any additional questions, I should say? Awesome. Thank you very much. Board President, I turn it back over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Brown Hall. We are now on item 17A, which is events and graduations. Are there any comments from board members who attended the recent graduations at the high schools? Dr. Spicer.
This was the first year I was able to attend a graduation ceremony, so I just wanted to share. I love graduation. It's one of my favorite seasons. I will sing the graduation song over and over again. So I'm a nerd, but it was really, really special. I was able to go to South's graduation, a little unnerving that it was outside, like all of them, but it was really special not only to be able to shake hands with all the students that walked across the stage, but actually to hear them thanking their coach as they walk across the stage and hugging them, or see them taking pictures with their favorite science teacher. There's clearly just such an impact. It's not just about walking across that stage, and also to listen to the students talk to each other about what that moment meant, especially this class and the things that they navigated over their middle school years and leading into high school. It was just really, really cool. So I was really proud to be a part of it.
Thank you, Dr. Spicer. Any other comments from board members? I just wanted to point out, and I know Dr. Brown Hall mentioned that the recordings of the graduations are available on our YouTube page, but also Dr. Brown Hall's message to graduates is also available on our district's YouTube page. And then on behalf of the Board of Education, we wish all the graduates and their families well as they begin this exciting new phase of their lives. Now we are on item 17B. The tentative dates for our Board of Education community forums are September 17th, which Dr. Brown Hall can,
27th.
I'm sorry, 27th, which Dr. Brown Hall cannot attend. So we will have to look at a different date for that. And then March 24th following the budget work session. Items 17C and D, ECASB and NYSBA events are listed in board docs. Does anyone have anything to report under these items? Okay, item 17E, correspondence was received regarding HR practices, school support, and substitute pay. We are now on item 18A. The district-wide liaison guidelines and assignments are in board docs. And at our August meeting, our assignments will be updated with any edits and considered for board approval at that time. Are there any questions at this time about the liaison assignments? Okay. So we are moving on. May I have a motion to approve agenda items 20 through 23, which is minutes, personnel, business and finance, and exceptional education, special needs, and student activities as presented. Ms. Poulin and Mr. Bulin, any discussion? All in favor? Motion carried unanimously. I would like to congratulate, actually, we had two tenure folks on our agenda this evening. I see one of them is in the audience, so Kristen Rizzo and Sherry Kester. And then additionally, I would like to congratulate and welcome the newly appointed Transit Middle School Assistant Principal, Travis Moore. You are welcome to come up and say
Good evening, Board of Education. Dr. Brown Hall, thank you so much. I want to thank you for the opportunity, extending the opportunity to join the leadership team at Transit. Thank you for the trust to place in me. Thank you for the communication throughout the interview process. I've spent the past 3 years as an international school principal in Kazakhstan. And so interviewing from Kazakhstan halfway across the world is quite the task. And the communication was outstanding, clear, supportive. Thank you so much for that. I can't wait to join the team. So just thank you so much.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We are now on item 24A. Is there a motion for the second reading of policy 7316, which is use of internet-enabled devices during the school day, and retire our 2015 policies number 7316 and 7317 as presented? Ms. Poulin, Ms. Blackinger, is there any discussion? Mr. Manna?
Thank you. Dr. Brownhall, can you let the community know what message is being given to the students when they come back? I mean, I don't want the message to be, we're taking your phones away because the government said so. Is there kind of like a big picture we're letting the students know, and can you tell the community what that might be?
Absolutely. And that's been going on throughout the school year, right? Students know what is going to be expected of them, right? And why. The why is really important, right? We know that during the school day, students are distracted by their cell phones. There is a need for students to communicate because that's what they're used to. But it's important that they actually absolutely, while in school, focus on their schoolwork, focus on forming community with their fellow students. And that's important because when we were younger, we had that in our school, right? And we weren't distracted by cell phones and furthermore by social media. And so that message has been given. It will continue to be given to our students. There's communication being prepared through our communications department that was reviewed by some of the committee members that will be shared with our students. There will be constant communication about what the procedures look like in the schools also from the individual schools, but that will be consistent among the grade span level, high school, middle school, and elementary.
Because the why is the most important reason.
Absolutely.
And I know like other schools have done this prior to the state law. And I think they all experienced some kind of hiccups during the first couple of weeks. And I think it's important that we all speak with one voice, that, and you mentioned it multiple times in your presentation, that the board, the teachers, your principal have no leeway in this.
Right.
The only real leeway we have or control is whether it stays in your backpack or your pocket or your locker. Other than that, it's bell to bell.
It is,
except for those very few.
Right. And it's important to also realize and help our families realize and our students realize that we understand from other districts that have done it the grace that's necessary over the first few weeks as we implement, right? Nothing's going to be perfect, right? This is something new for an entire district, for an entire state. So we know we have to provide grace. We know that we want to operate slow to go fast, right? So we understand what that will look like in the opening days of school. Board Member Poulin.
Yes, I know that Student Board Member Prada was on that committee, so I'd really like to hear from him and what his experience was with that committee and as a representative from the students. So if you care to, I don't want to put you on the spot.
Do I push this?
The green, if it's green, it's on.
It's on.
I'll say the comments I've gotten were from students, from talking to students and the teachers. I believe Dr. Brownhill made this clear that this is a state mandate and that we have no choice. Now, students are pretty pissed about it, but I think
they may be upset.
I think it being enforced upon us, and it's being enforced upon us in a way. And I think rather than taking it in a way that, oh, we have to do this, and it being kind of negative, maybe we look at it from a different way and turn it into something positive. I mean, I do believe phones are addicting to some point, and some students do use it as a tool, so it's something positive. But other than that, I think if we have to do this, why not do it positively? Let's do it for the better.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Any other discussion?
Just a quick question. You, Dr. Brownhill, said that procedures will be communicated at the building level. Is it, would that be procedures that are more global, district-wide? Like a building level, I imagine, is where you're going to put your cell phone, process, things like that in the physical school. Will the procedures for English language learners, someone caring for an elderly parent, IEP exceptions,
Right.
How will that be communicated?
Right. So there will be district level and then there will be building level, right? Some of the district level things, for example, if there's a student that has it in their IEP, that will be handled through Assistant Superintendent Scanzuzzo's office with the directors of special ed, working with our attorneys to see what that will look like, if it will happen for certain students. So that is something that will be taken care of at the district level. Most of the procedures that will then apply to the schools will be universal for the high schools, middle schools, and elementary schools. So there will be district-wide, and then there will be building-specific.
Yeah, and in the district-wide piece, I understand where it will happen. It's more how will you communicate how the community will know how that will happen?
Well, it'll probably be by notification through various means, through Wix, through the weekly or the updates that I do also, and then through the newsletters from the schools.
Okay, thank you.
And if I could just add, I mean, the exceptions that are going to be exceptional in matter that kids are going to be able to have their cell phones, those conversations will be had one-on-one with students, families, and their and their teachers,
right?
So that they're all informed of this particular student. So it'll be based on an individual basis. Those communications.
You're
welcome.
Thank you, Scalia.
It will each school be letting the students know the order of discipline if cell phones are in use in the beginning of the year, or how is
Well, that was Principal Bowen went over that. Now that was something that was in the procedures that was presented last month. So that will be consistent amongst the schools.
And is there any thought to if teachers don't, I hate to say this, but
like herding cats.
Yeah, kind of let it go, or I mean, I don't want to say discipline towards teachers, but I mean, we should all be on the same page.
Right, and I'm sure we will be. Again, it will be a learning process for everyone, right? It'll be a learning, it's a change in practice. It'll be a learning process for everyone.
Any other discussion?
Well, I just to echo what Mr. Biscaglia said, we have 2 teachers on the Board of Education. What do you think, is there, you're going to have to live it too?
My school's been doing it for the middle school that I'm at has been doing it for 5 years.
So some growing pains probably.
First year was tough, very tough. As the kids got used to it, it's just second nature. There was some leaky holes where you get, well, this person lets me do it, this person, but that's what I was asking, because I think it's teachers and aides and people should not be disciplined at first. It's a learning process, as Dr. Brownhill expressed, and I think that's important to remember, because it's not sometimes that sometimes they just forget. It's like it's a new habit you have to get used to. But I thought it's been very it's helped our students concentrate more. And I do cafeteria duty as well. What I love the most is seeing kids actually interact for once instead of like, yep.
Well,
yep.
and
I think that's important. Again, we're getting back to the whole child, the whole, so.
to the point that was brought up, I believe in the committee, because I know when I met with Principal Swenson and with Principal Bowen, one of the things, because our middle schools do such a great job with making sure that students do not have their cell phones, it's really the work of the 10th, 11th, and 12th graders, because the 8th graders coming from middle school are already used to that, right? So it's really the 10th, 11th, and 12th graders that we'll work with. And our teachers, we have dynamic teachers in our building that want to make sure everyone's doing the right thing. So I understand some of it may be oh yeah, I forgot we are, but it will over time. Again, that's why we go slow to move fast. Board Member Bulin?
I would just say, coming from a district that's going to have to implement it too, that the most important thing is the teachers present a united front.
Right.
I was saying to Mr. Biscaglia that we're like herding cats. What Mr. Bulin does may not be the same thing as Dr. Singh, right? And so it's really important. We're putting the onus, this policy puts the onus on the teachers, unfortunately, to make sure that it's enforced. And I can only imagine it's going to be a rough couple of first weeks. And hopefully the bad behavior, or I guess the wrong behavior, will dissipate over time.
Right. But that's why, and I'm glad you brought that up, because that's why it's not, I don't want it to seem like the onus is on the teachers, right? This is a school community, right? That we all will be working on it together. It takes students, parents, teachers, administrators. We're all working on this together. So this is a team. Our school community will have to come together to make sure that this is successful. And again, it will be a slow go, but we'll see the benefits of this. When talking to administrators that have already implemented this in other districts, it was a slow go, but they saw the benefits of it rather quickly.
I will say that I put a phone jail in my own classroom.
A phone what?
A phone jail.
A phone jail.
Kid had to put their phone in when they walked in, and it made a huge difference in the, just the interaction as much, because they actually couldn't, be here.
Correct.
They had to be talking to one another, and I think that it's going to benefit everybody.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? Okay, this again was a motion for the second reading of the policies and to retire the two policies. All in favor of the second reading? Motion carries unanimously. May I have a motion now to approve policy 7316, use of internet-enabled devices during the school day, and retire the 2015 policies number 7316 and 7317 as presented. Dr. Singh, Mr. Bulin, is there any discussion? All in favor? Motion carried unanimously. Item 24B, may I have a motion for the first reading of policy 5685, maximum temperature for school buildings and indoor facilities as presented? Ms. Poulin, Dr. Singh, is there any discussion? All in favor? Motion carried unanimously. May I have a motion to postpone this policy for the second reading at the August 12th meeting? Mr. Manna, Ms. Bleckenshire, any discussion? All in favor? Motion carried unanimously. There are no matters to discuss under items 25 through 27. Does anyone have any matters to discuss under Committee of the Whole? Seeing none, we are now on item 29A, which is second public expression. If anyone in the audience would like to speak at this time, please step up to the podium. I don't see anyone, so we will now move on. And this concludes our organizational meeting. The next scheduled regular board meeting is August 12th. Is there a motion to adjourn the organizational meeting? Dr. Singh, Mr. Bulin, all in favor? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you and good night, everyone.